What happens when a casino doesn't look like one but promises to change your life? Why can't we stop playing even when we know the game is rigged and the house always wins? And why are millions of Indians walking into a trap where 93% are going to lose? So recently, I came across a few viral reels on Instagram.
आज मेरी दिन की शुरुआत होती है मेरे ऑटो साइड में लगा कि हम मार्केट को एनालिसिस करते रहते हैं लॉसेस के वजह से मेरे पास बहुत ही कम कैपिटल
Watching this brought a smile to my face. You know, a few years ago, it would have been hard to imagine a person with such a professional background actively trading in the stock market. Back then, the markets were not accessible to everyone, and many even viewed the markets as a casino for gamblers. But a lot has changed since then. Today, there are many stories of success shared from the deepest corners of the country. But for every success story shared by someone who profited from the stock market, there exist many anecdotes of failure that do not find the light of day nor grace your screens. It's kind of like your favorite artist telling you to follow your dreams because you're going to make it no matter what. What they conveniently leave out? The thousands of aspiring artists who crashed and burned chasing that same dream. So SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, recently released this report. And here's where it gets interesting and concerning. The numbers are shocking. 70% of traders are losing their money. Amongst the few that do manage to make some money, most are experienced trading analysts with years of experience and a wealth of resources. A majority of the young traders entering the market are experiencing severe losses. You know, some of them have taken up loans with hopes of turning a profit only to accumulate mountains of debt. Here's another number to paint a portrait. Within futures and options trading, a staggering 93% of Indians are losing their money. If I told you your parachute had a 93% chance of failure, would you still jump out of that plane? And yet, the number of people diving into trading is exploding. National Stock Exchange reports a 300% increase in just 4 years. I could not wrap my head around this. Clearly, the financial markets wasn't a place for gamblers. And yet, the hardworking youth who sought to join this ecosystem could not find their way to success. Something is off, and I wanted to understand what that is. It's actually a very interesting story of technological revolution, predatory corporations, predatory people, but most importantly, of human psychology. And to understand it, we're going to play a game. A very expensive game. Whether you trade or not, you need to see this because you will learn how the deck is stacked against you and why the biggest players always seem to win. First, let's set the stage. In 1977, India was emerging out of one of its darkest phases post-independence. Corruption and bureaucracy had left no space for innovation or growth. Inflation was touching the sky and eroding the value of every hard-earned rupee. Amidst this period, an ambitious Dhirubhai Ambani decided to take his young company, Reliance, public. And he did something unimaginable. He invited the common public, people like you and me, to come forward and place their hard-earned money in Reliance's growth story. At that time, the stock market was reserved only for institutions and the wealthy elites. Dhirubhai's invitation offered an opportunity for the common public to directly challenge this system. It was an offer too good to refuse. You know, a record 58,000 retail investors put their faith in Reliance, which paid off, with Reliance shares increasing 5 times within a year of going public, turning several people into crorepati's and Dhirubhai into an icon. With this, the equity cult was born, and with it, a belief. A belief that anyone could invest in the stock market and create unimaginable wealth. This was a turning point for the country as a whole. But this newfound belief that anyone could make a wealthy living for themselves simply by embracing the financial markets is what led to various Indians developing the ability to dream and dream big. However, this desire to quickly make a better life often leads to one developing blind spots to various traps within their own minds. Warren Buffett describes a good temperament as the most important quality one needs to become a successful trader. See, I'm not a trader, but I do invest, and as an entrepreneur, I have seen the impact of losing my temperament and making decisions emotionally, especially when it comes to decisions related to finance. In fact, you yourself might have felt the pinch of your emotions harming your finances in life whenever you make an impulsive financial decision. Now, maybe you can recover from these small emotional mistakes, but in the stock market, they can have a fatal cost. In fact, the brain itself has various little tics that a trader, or rather every human, must overcome in order to be successful, and that is what I'm going to show you now. In both trading and a game of poker, the underlying principle is analogous. For someone to make money, another has to lose it. In fact, the game of poker is a befitting analogy to understand the psychological traps at play while trading stocks. These mental traps or biases not only make trading difficult, but also create more problems and makes the life of a trader very, very messy. We are going to dive into them and discover how they unfold. For the uninitiated, poker is a world of skill where these chips are currency. These are the equivalent of a stock in the world of trading. In poker, your objective is to win as many chips as you can. At the start of the round, everybody is dealt 2 private cards that only they can see. Then turn by turn, 5 community cards are revealed on the table for everyone to use. The objective? Combine your 2 cards with the one on the table to create the best 5-card hand. Whoever has the better hand wins the pot. What's the pot though? Well, that's just the total chips bet in a round. So, if you think you have the winning hand or want to pretend like you do, then you bet chips accordingly. If your opponent thinks they have the winning hand or want to pretend like they do, they bet against you. A showdown occurs wherein the best hand is revealed and that player scoops up all the chips on the table. It's actually quite simple until you start to play the game. Now that you get the gist, we're going to start exploring all the psychological traps, the biases that you all must be aware of while taking the arduous journey of trading stocks. But before we dive into these, I want to introduce you to our sponsor for today's video, Odoo. Odoo is an enterprise resource management software that helps businesses level up their game. Whether you're struggling to manage your inventory, prioritize tasks among teams, and display your products better, Odoo is the go-to platform for every business problem. And if you're someone who's running an online business, then Odoo's e-commerce application is what you need to know about. With Odoo's e-commerce builder app, you can easily build a professional-looking online store in just minutes. Start by choosing your business industry, goal, and color palette and uploading your logo. Odoo will then make a palette for you, post which you can choose the pages and features you want and pick a theme you like. Now you can start building your product list. To add a new product, click New and then select your product. Add the name, barcode, price, and image of the product and take your product page live. You can also customize your content by dragging and dropping building blocks, choosing any font you want, and even swap out images from their library of photos. While you can highlight your products with features like 3D elements and animations to give your business an extra edge to attract customers. Plus, the invoicing application is automatically included when you set up your store, so you can manage everything from payments, sales to invoices in one single place. But the most amazing part? Odoo offers its first application free for life with unlimited hosting support. That literally means that you can get started without worrying about any extra costs. And as your business grows, Odoo scales with you, allowing you to add more applications as needed without inflating your costs. So if you're interested, check out Odoo from the link in description below. Now back to the video. You're at the poker table, focused on the game. You're aware that in poker, you don't play the cards, you play the man. Suddenly, you notice a tell on one of the players. Just a little action of scratching the eyebrow. In the next round, you notice the same thing, the same tell during the same bluff by the same person. You have confirmed it's a tell and now you've got them trapped. The next time you face off against them, you're gonna capitalize on this strategy. You see them scratch their eyebrows once again and you know that it's time to call their bluff. Except, turns out, he simply had an itchy brow, a series of uncanny coincidences that you believed to be a strategy. What you didn't account for were the times when the player itched their eyebrows outside of the game. This, my friends, is what we call survivorship bias. You see, in the world of trading, you observe certain strategies and believe that replicating them will guarantee profits. If you win a few times, you start to believe that your strategies are entirely responsible for the successful outcomes, foregoing the possibility that there may be other factors at play and that there exist scenarios where the same strategy has failed. And so, you double down on your strategy only to learn that your thesis was built on coincidence or incomplete analysis. Suddenly, reality comes and hits you in the face in the form of a loss. A tricky thing to deal with, isn't it? But we have a lot more psychological traps to uncover. So let's go back to the poker table again. Say you're going head-to-head with a player with a notorious reputation. You've bet your chips since you've got a reasonable hand. But they've raised your bet, instilling doubt in your confidence. Now, you have to make a decision. Do you challenge them or give in to their confidence? You're stuck, unable to crack the answer. Suddenly, another reputed player in the table smirks. Now your mind starts to wonder. You think that they must have some basis for their introduction, right? Maybe they might have seen something that you probably missed. With confidence instilled in you by another confident person, you make the decision. Unfortunately for you, the showdown reveals that she wasn't bluffing at all. This is what is referred to as herding behavior. You see, in tradings, oftentimes people feel compelled to purchase a stock simply because others are doing it rather than as a result of your own analysis and understanding. Now, usually this occurs when someone with influence passes incorrect information with confidence. Their confidence makes the listener not want to fact-check the information. This further continues a chain reaction that results in massive losses for those that are part of the unfortunate chain. What's that saying again? If your friend jumped off a cliff? You might think that once you're aware of these biases, you can overcome them. But that's not necessarily the case. I want to show you some very interesting cognitive biases that even the most experienced traders fall prey to that you need to be aware of. This time, you're doing quite well for yourself and you're feeling confident about your skills. In the next round, you're dealt fairly good cards, so you take a risky bet. Your opponent matches your game. Now it's the end of the round and your opponent goes all in. You think to yourself, maybe he has a better hand and fold. As you lose, your opponent smirks and reveals the cards. A 2 and 7 unsuited. Clearly, they were bluffing. Now it's the next round and this is a repeat of the exact same situation. He goes all in and once again you think to yourself, it's gotta be a bluff like last time. Just as you're about to crack him open, you hesitate a bit. No, wait, maybe he wants me to think he's bluffing but actually got lucky with really good cards. Once again, you avoid the risk and give in. As it turns out, he was indeed bluffing this time as well. At this point, you have started to tilt. So tilting is a poker term for when your mind starts to play tricks against you and you start acting against your usual instincts. Now, it's time for the third round. The stakes are as high as ever, and once again your opponent goes all in for the third time. You think to yourself, he knows I'm aware that he's bluffed twice now. He can't be foolish enough to try it for a third time, right? No one in their right minds would bluff 3 times in a row. So you tell yourself, it's gotta be true this time. And what does it turn out to be? You guessed it, a bluff. What you just experienced here is called the gambler's fallacy. Now in the world of stocks, this bias plays out when you look at your stock that's been showing patterns of decline after decline. You believe that very soon the stock will correct itself and go up, as all good stocks do. That wishful thinking leads you to you taking a hit. Honestly, it's a lot like taking multiple choice questions test and answering 3 option Bs in a row. The fourth one seems to be a B, but there's no way the teachers put 4 Bs in a row, right? See, maybe the teacher wouldn't, but the stock market surely has no such reservations. I think you're getting the gist of it. Now let's go back to the poker game one last time. This is it. It's the final round of the game. You're dealt the cards 7 and 9. The flop opens and reveals an 8 and a 10, along with a 4. You have a straight draw, which is basically a sequence of 5 continuous cards. It's a sneaky opportunity since few players can read that you're playing with an open-ended straight draw. Now, all you need is 6 or a jack, and you're taking this pot home. Now, there's a 30% chance that the card you want opens up, but your confidence makes it feel like it's a 60%. And so, you bet strong. A big bet for a big reward. Your opponent joins the pot as well, with their cards still a mystery to you. The next card opens upon the table. It's a Queen of Hearts. Suddenly, your confidence wanes and anxiety steps in. Now, there's only a 17% chance that the card you want opens up in the last turn, also called the river. You think to yourself, I've already bet so many chips, backing out now would be a big loss, and that's a reality that is hard to digest. So, instead of cutting your losses, you double down believing that your luck will turn. You raise the pot, and the dealer carefully and dramatically opens the river card, and what is it? An ace of spades. You're bust. You don't have any good cards in your hand. You should be cutting down your losses, but you feel like you're already in too deep. You feel like the only way out is forward, and so you make the irrational decision to go all in, hoping that maybe they'll buy your confidence. Sadly, that turns out to be the end of the road for you. This is the sunk cost fallacy, a phenomena that tends to hijack your reasonability to quite some extent. In a world of trading, this is equivalent of seeing that a stock you bought has severely gone down in value, but you just can't get yourself to admit the loss. So instead, you hold on to it, or worse, buy more of the stock. And when the time comes, the bubble bursts. Your losses accumulate and reach a point of irreversibility. Now, instead of a few hundreds, you're down a few thousands and reach a point of no return. The world of trading involves so many other cognitive biases that act as mousetraps in your journey. The Dunning-Kruger effect, the availability heuristic, confirmation bias, and many, many more such terms that you will face once you start a journey down this path. Before you even get to the various sharks in the water who are out to get you, which we're going to cover next, by the way, you must first deal with the parasites in your brain that wish for your downfall. Now that we have learned some of the internal pitfalls, let's move on to the big sharks. Let's talk about something that's far less in your control, the bear traps awaiting you. Early on, investing in the stock market was a fairly straightforward practice. You simply banked on the progress of a company and grew alongside them. Over time, as the markets and the economy evolved, technological advancements made the markets more accessible and created all sorts of new opportunities. But with these opportunities came a wave of all sorts of opportunists.
Especially any bank will not support.
Jignesh Shah has now been arrested.
Soon we learned that the market is not only filled with immense potential, but was also a minefield full of risks and people manipulating the system for personal gains. Unfortunately, in today's digital age, a new breed of opportunists have emerged. For them, the target isn't the market, it's you. The millions of people with the aspiration to climb up the social ladder. Since COVID, influencers peddling financial advice have become a common source of inspiration for people, with their main demographic being the younger generations anxiously waiting to take their first steps into the market. And I'm not saying all are bad, but there are many of them peddling lies. Just as ethically sound influencers will guide you to knowledge, others offer false promises and links in their bio that discreetly transfer money from your pocket into theirs. Many of these influencers exploit the basic principle on which the market functions, which a retail investor often tends to ignore: trust. You see, the markets are closely interlinked. One bad event, one change in government policy, or the collapse of a major financial institution can spark a chain of reactions which can lead to people losing faith in the market. They start panicking and dumping stocks, which spills over into the market to create a domino effect. In fact, this is exactly how pump and dump schemes also work, but in a more orchestrated manner. Let me explain. So first, an influential figure will buy up a large quantity of a cheap, relatively unknown stock. Then what they start doing is, they start hyping it up in the media, claiming that it's the next big hidden gem, creating a buzz which attracts people like you and me who start buying the stock. As more people buy in, the stock price begins to rise, and this is the pump phase. This influential figure stays alert for the moment the stock reaches its peak, and that's when they cash out. They quietly sell off their shares at the inflated price, leaving everybody else stuck with a rapidly declining stock. This is the dump phase. As the price crashes back down, those who bought in fast are left holding the bag and a pile of losses. It is a weapon which has become quite popular among influencers lately, who SEBI has identified and fined. One such pump and dump even led to a famous Bollywood actor getting banned from the markets.
Arshad Vasi, his wife Maria, and 29 other individuals
have been barred from buying, selling, or dealing in securities in a case of share manipulation of Sadhana Broadcast.
Arshad Vasi and his wife were reported to have helped spread false information about two Delhi-based companies, Sadhana Broadcast and Sharpline Broadcast. The two companies were promoted on 4 YouTube channels, having millions of subscribers combined. False information like Adani taking over the two companies was spread, leading to many retail investors buying their stocks. As soon as the stocks hit their peak, these influencers cashed out, leaving the poor retail investors to suffer. And while they struggle, the people behind the pump and dump scheme earned over 40 crores, with Arshad Vasi and his partner making over 60 lakhs. But pump and dump is just one such bear trap. Others involve influencers selling false hopes and dreams. Now, with all of these obstacles existing in your path, and if you as a retail investor are losing money, who is even making it? Well, this is where it gets interesting. While you as a retail trader are busy decoding patterns and analyzing charts, there are traders who've already made thousands of trades using algorithms to capture any changes in price before the data even hits your screen. These are not individuals, but institutions like foreign portfolio investors and high-frequency traders. These traders have access to information and technology that you as a retail trader will never have. All of them deploy AI models and algorithms to accurately predict market movement and implement the right strategy, thus making an already unfair fight more difficult. But the scary truth, it's going to become worse for retail traders. You see, algorithmic trading already makes up 60 to 75% of trading volume in America. In India too, about half of the trading volumes are now made up of algo traders. But these are just limited to firms and massive capital. Retail traders using algorithmic trading only make up 10% of the volume currently. A major reason behind this is that setting up or getting access to this technology requires significant capital. Many aspiring and young traders cannot afford this, and the gap between them and these firms is going to remain massive. I interrupt this segment to share some news with all of you. So around 1.5 years ago, we started a video editing cohort because we had this thesis that we're moving towards a world where it's becoming easier and easier to build products but harder to get users. So distribution is going to become the mode. And somewhere our thesis was right, because if you look at companies, founders, everybody is creating content right now. And honestly, making compelling videos, understanding the algorithm is now a legitimate long-term career. We have trained over 1,800 plus video editors who are now working with companies like Blinkit, Zerodha, Zoho, and folks like Ali Abdal, Nikhil Kamath, Tanmay Bhatt. 80% of students who applied for placements have got jobs with average salaries of 4.5 lakh per annum. And I don't know if I can legally say this, okay? But honestly, anybody and everybody who joins the cohort is willing to finish the cohort, get their portfolios ready, we have a job for you. And we have worked very, very hard to create this recruiter network of 500 companies who are all hiring multiple video editors from us, by the way. So, while we have so many people complaining about not getting jobs on the internet, I keep telling them, come to our cohorts, we can help. But then they say, oh, it's video editing. But honestly, that's where the demand is right now. And you need to be okay with a job that's not software engineering. And I'm not exaggerating, we have more recruiters than students sitting for placements as of now, and getting packages higher than engineering colleges. You know what? Don't take my word for it. Come experience it firsthand. We're doing a free masterclass where you can learn how to edit videos like Aevy TV, understand content better, get to know our instructors, know what our community is like, and see some of the work that our cohort students have done before. And more than anything, knowing content, knowing editing will help all of you build leverage for yourself. So come watch it even if you don't want to join the cohort, because you might just end up learning something new. I'm putting the masterclass link in description. See you there. So the important question arises here. If you're up against your own biases, which you don't understand, and forces which are far superior and guaranteed to make money over you, does that imply that one should not trade or participate in the stock market? Well, Zerodha founder Nitin Kamath has countless times said that trading is the hardest way to make money.
Day trading is probably the toughest place on the planet to make easy money. It gives you an illusion that it's easy, but I think the only easy thing about day trading is opening an account.
I know many aspiring young traders and people might dismiss his advice and the advice of countless experts because they don't understand what trading costs. After reading about all the stories of the people who've lost money trading, I found that trading is not just about trading away with your money. You'll also end up trading away your time and physical and emotional well-being. Things which will never return back and that no one takes into account. See, I don't want you to take this video as blanket advice that you should not trade or invest in the stock market. The markets are open for everyone to enter and be a part of them. But to actually make money in the market, you need to build knowledge about the markets, which you'll only develop if you spend time genuinely studying the markets, industries, and businesses. In the short run, yes, you might be able to make little money based on some news which influences the price of the stock, or one-off strategy, or even luck. But if you want to create wealth and money from the markets, you need to take a long-term view. And if there's one guiding principle that I could give you to develop this attitude that I have picked from Warren Buffett, is to start seeing investments in stocks as if you're investing in a business.
Business figures themselves tell me something about a business, but the price of a stock doesn't tell me anything about a business. I would rather value a stock or a business first and not even know the price, so that I'm not influenced by the price in establishing my valuation.
If the core business or the unit economics of a company you're investing in is good and it's constantly delivering profits in the long run, then it's bound to reflect in its stock and you're going to make money. But this requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to learn about how economies function, businesses function, and the markets function. Most importantly, Understand that it is not about winning big in the markets, but when to fight temptation and when to walk away. That is it for today's video. I hope you learned something. My name is Achina Maya, and thank you for watching.